Greetings, in this video I'm going to show you how to turn this rat into this more rabid rat. Basically I want to show you the advantages of using an existing shape to create a new character. It's far easier to alter a shape than it is to create one from scratch. And that's basically the power of Character Creator. Buying an item in the store doesn't mean that you're locked into that item. It means that you can use it to create new characters based off that shape. I'll start with Go Z Plus and send it over to ZBrush. And then I'll start pushing and pulling the character's geometry to create a new character. I generated a pretty nasty looking rat using AI, and it kind of inspired me to try it for some reason. I won't be able to get a one-to-one character based on the reference in this short of time, but it's worth a try to at least put some of those elements into the character. The underlying geometry beneath the shape is as important as the shape, in my opinion, because it determines how the character moves and deforms during animation. Basically, the layout of the geometry determines how the clothing will fit over the model. If the geometry is deformed, then the clothing will match it. So basically, I'm always checking the wireframe to see how even it is. It's impossible to get it like perfectly even, obviously, because it's an exaggerated character. But you can make it you can make it even within the confines of that deformation. If that makes sense. I'm slowly matching the shape to the reference. Wider neck, wider torso, wider belly, and along the way you can kind of see that you can create all kinds of characters. Like this is kind of an interesting character in and of itself. So if you come across some inspiration as you're creating, you might want to save that version of the file, because you can create a whole new character. This character was transferred at the sub-D level 6, I believe, and along with it came the textures, which were converted into polypaint. I want to retain the eye socket color and the tear ducts in the mouth, the inner mouth. So I masked those off, and then I'm going to apply a beigeish color, and then just use that to guide me a little further as I start creating more details of the character. Don't look at the process as one big project. Look at it as many components of a larger project. I mean, don't try to do it all in one bite, basically. Focus on one area of the character, move the proportions in that direction, then you'll be that much closer to matching the reference or whatever you're trying to achieve. Now here I probably would normally give this character actual hair on the top of his head, but I want to show you also the power of the sub-D or the higher resolution. Like this is at sub-D level 2, and it's 200,000, 25 polygons around there, and this is how it will appear in Character Creator itself. So all this geometry movement in detail, it will appear in Character Creator. Like no normals needed for this particular thing. I mean, there are still limitations like the ears. Like there's not a whole lot of geometry there, even though it's subdivided twice. But it's quite interesting what you can do. Like I just realized you can start pulling out like fur tufts to give it a little bit more detail, and that goes a long way towards like breaking the silhouette. And then you can put normal detail on top of it to an extent. Like when I created the original rat character, it was just a perfectly smooth character, not a lot of detail, but I realized that you could actually just pull out tufts of hair, and that's enough to, you know, draw the eye and make things more convincing in terms of fur. And I'm going to give this character a little bit of a crazed look, like the reference, though slightly different. I'm just using the reference as an inspiration and proportions. I realized after recording this that some of this detail is not going to transfer over in texture in terms of textures. There's a separate texture for the sclera, and you have to replace that, which I'm not going to bother doing for this tutorial. So this painted veins and stuff on the eyes, which I just did really quickly anyways, they're not going to show up. But you can make them show up. You just have to go into the texture settings and replace the sclera texture with a new texture. So this rat obviously probably has some kind of disease like rabies or the plague. I don't know, something like that. He's not very healthy. So he has a bit of a purple hue to his skin. And he's very ragged looking. For the fur, you don't have to sculpt out every individual strand or tuft. Just want to hint at it for a cartoon character anyways. Like I wouldn't probably pull out hair strands for a realistic character because it's not going to look right. Cartoon characters are mostly about silhouette, shape, simplified details, and rather than, you know, super fine hair strands and things like that. Now for the resting expression, I wasn't sure if I should just have him always in a sort of scowling, sickly expression. Normally I would not. I think this character is probably always has an expression like that. So that would be his base expression. But if you wanted to mix this with another character using Actor Mixer, maybe you'd want to close the mouth if you're like creating the character for like the content store or something, or marketplace. Just a suggestion. But for a character like a one-off character, maybe you can try giving him an exaggerated scowling expression like this. I thought it might be fun to create some drool or foam coming out of his mouth because, you know, he has rabies. And apparently that is a symptom of rabies. If you're going to create an asset for his mouth like this, I'd probably assign it as a hair item when you bring it into Character Creator. And then, like, if it's for his mouth, or his mouth area, because then it will follow the expressions, which a worn asset will not, even if it's parented to the jaw. So with this character basically done, I'm going to send him over to Character Creator using Gozi Plus. It has created all the texture maps, and I'm just going to assign the drool as clothing for now. The drool item didn't transfer over correctly, so what I did was convert it to an accessory, which resets its shape, and then I converted it to a facial hair item. That's actually a good tip I should suggest, is that if an item deforms too much, you can reset its shape by converting it into an accessory. This can be useful if you want to manually fit an item to a character. Also, a quick note, if you have a spring item like a tail, and you alter the character's shape significantly, the spring item will not retain, well, the bones will shift on the item, as you can see there. So just delete the item and reapply it, and it will have the correct bone alignment. So that's about it for this one. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and until next time.